Welcome to the Bet MGM studio with Amy Wells and Mike Key.
On this week's edition of Titans All Access, meet the people making the Titans faster, even in the month of December, as we take you beneath the surface. Peter Skronsky is this week's Nissan Insider. We get you ready for this weekend's trip to Indianapolis with our first AFC South Rewind. And head coach Brian Callahan is part of the show every week.
Our segments with Coach Callahan are known as Callie's Corner, and they're presented by SeatGeek.
Tyjae Spears, he got back on the scene in a big way against the Cincinnati Bengals. He had 92 yards from scrimmage. He had 2 touchdowns. Could you see that coming in practice last week?
Absolutely, I could. I thought Tyjae's really, he's had an up and down year with some injuries and been in and out of the lineup, and nothing that was too serious, but just sort of took momentum from him to some degree, and to see the way he's practiced the last 3 weeks, and really the way he's played in the last 2 games has been a product of his practice consistency. He's been really good in the practices over the weeks, and Tony Pollard has missed significant practice time due to his injury, and so he's gotten a lot of reps and opportunity. I think you're seeing the effects of that on Sunday. He's kind of back to the Tyjae that I was hoping to see a lot of, and he's had 2 really good games, I thought, just doing things the way they're supposed to be done and playing with a bunch of effort and energy and making plays with the ball in his hand. And so that was good to see, and hopefully that continues. And again, just due to Tony's fighting through some things too, we need him to play a pretty significant role like he did, and he answered the bell.
All right, we've let too much time pass without talking about T'Vondre Sweat, because the play of the game was him taking that ball from Joe Burrow and running down the field 30 yards. It was incredible. There were so many things about that play that just make it so much fun to watch. What stood out to you, Brian Callahan? I
mean, the stiff arm was pretty remarkable. And then just, the athleticism for a man his size is pretty impressive. I mean, he's the definition of rumbling and bumbling and stumbling down the field. But I thought it was just great effort on his part, the awareness to go get the ball. As Joe's kind of on top of a body, so he wasn't down, and to go get the ball out of his hands and then, get a return and positive yards out of it was awesome. I've not seen guys do that very often, so that was cool. But I think the coolest part for me is when you watch what happens when he's on the sideline and just how excited the team is and how much energy they have. And that was a really awesome moment in an early part of the game that I was like, oh, this might be our day today, early in that game with the way we had started it out.
So you did not see Anthony Richardson at quarterback for the Colts on October 13th. You'll see him this weekend. What's it like preparing for the second-year quarterback out of Florida?
You see his talent. You see why he got selected where he was selected. He's got a huge arm. He can really throw the ball down the field, and he's really a unique athlete. I mean, he's with the ball in his hand and him running the football and the challenges that poses. It's a whole different style you have to get ready for, and you have to play a disciplined brand of football with the quarterback run game. That's something that we've not been great at this year, so we're going to have to be on top of those things in this game. And then, when you get a chance to get him down, you got to get him down, and you got to get him on the ground because he can break runs at any point, whether it's in the drop back pass game or the quarterback read game. He's got the ability to create explosive plays, and you got to respect that part of it. And I know he's had his ups and downs as a passer this year, but he's very capable of winning football games, and he's got really high-end talent. And so we got to be on top of making sure that talent doesn't get a chance to show itself on Sunday.
What's the challenge of going against a Gus Bradley defense?
They're always very well coached. That's the one thing about these defenses and going against Gus over the years is they're very sound. They're well coached, and Gus has a great feel for how to deploy the scheme. It's not an overly complicated scheme. It's not exotic. But he's got just enough to keep you off balance. He pops pressures in spots where maybe you don't expect it. He'll change up when you think you're going to get a particular look. He changes it. He's very aware of what they do and how they do it and what it presents to the offense, and does a great job of mixing those things together. So I've always had a ton of respect for Gus. They've always been hard defenses to play against, and they're always really well coached and disciplined in their approach. There's not a whole lot of easy yards when you play against Gus.
For more of our conversation with Brian Callahan, we invite you to enjoy the OTP. You can watch the OTP on the Titans YouTube channel or at TennesseeTitans.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the OTP wherever you get your podcasts. There is only one official Titans podcast. better known as the OTP. Stay tuned. More Titans All Access right after this. Welcome back to Titans All Access. We are really excited about this edition of Beneath the Surface presented by Microsoft Surface. We introduce you to Zach Woodfin. He's in his first season as the Titans Director of Sports Performance. With a background training athletes in both college and the pros, Woodfin brought a unique mindset to Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and the Titans players have certainly noticed the difference. For Zach Woodfin, the first challenge was getting the team's sports performance staff perfectly meshed. Woodfin found Brian Bell and Haley Roberts and retained them for his first Titans staff. He added Mark Lavatte and Grant Thorne from the Green Bay Packers. John Shaw was brought in to specifically coach speed for the Titans players.
John Shaw's always uplifting. He's always positive.
Hey, take your time and be smooth.
But shortly after that, John Shaw loves speed. You know, he loves teaching athletes how to be faster.
The easy answer to run fast, you got to run fast. But you want to do it in the right way because running fast takes a lot out, it's taxing.
Woodfin's team balances volume and intensity for each player's training in their overall strength, power, and yes, their speed.
So research says that speed can be lost as soon as 5 days if you don't practice the speed. And so with us knowing that, it makes pretty logical sense. We should work on it at least once every 5 to 7 days. We should do the mechanics that we know help speed. We should run fast every Thursday. If our athletes have not run at 90% or more of their top speed, then we get them to do that. Because if we go 3 weeks without hitting the top speed, just like I said, it's going to start to diminish.
The specific area of speed training within athletic performance is a growing area, and Shaw is one of the leaders in this field.
We start with mechanics. I think mechanics and technique is king in anything. So making sure guys can get in the right positions, first of all, making sure in the weight room we're getting stronger so we can apply force, maximum force. After that, we need to apply the force in the right direction. So those three components come together, and now you have speed. You have an efficient, fast, explosive athlete, and that's what we're trying to create here.
The players connect with John Shaw and with the rest of Zach Woodfin's staff.
Another thing that they will see is I can do all the drills that they do. So not only am I telling them about speed, I'm showing them. So it's kind of like me and my friends, we have a joke, show and tell. So I tell them, but I also show them. And at 41 years old, me being able to do the drills and they see me and Grant out there hitting our 90% on Thursdays, that builds a little trust, and these guys aren't just talking about it, they're actually doing it.
We want you guys to build trust and respect with us, and that happens with how you show up to work, with how you do things with detail. They understand that we know what we're doing. They understand and they start to feel that what we're doing works, and that's where you get the buy-in. It's like, wow, this works.
The buy-in, it's been immediate. Players are seeing personal records, or PRs, in speed even as we hit the last month of the season. The receivers, the defensive backs, and even kicker Nick Folk have improved their speed this season. But one player stands out when it comes to all-out buy-in in the Titans' all-new speed program, and that's Harold Landry.
Harold Landry is one guy who's done a tremendous job with our speed training. He's really bought into it. And the last 4 to 5 weeks, out of the last 5 weeks before the game, Harold's PRing on his 10-yard sprint. So 4 out of the last 5 weeks, and you're talking about he's running faster in week 12 than he ran in week 1. And that's what we want. We want guys fresh, and it gives them confidence when they're going out there on the field. They know they're explosive and fast. They feel like they can play better at the end of the day.
You gotta have that speed. Speed is the most crucial thing, and to be able to have it over the course of the entire season, you gotta work on it every day, I feel like. And I feel like the strength staff here does a great job, man, of building a plan and knowing each guy and how each guy's different. and react to certain things differently. And I feel like they've done a great job working with me on not only building speed, but being able to maintain it throughout the entire season.
Think about your hip flexion, and if your hip flex, your knee gonna come with it. There you go.
He's done a great job all season, specifically with me. He knows how I operate and what I feel like, and he's been there with me every step of the way, helping me out.
John Shaw, I think most of all, he's an unbelievable person. And that's what's so cool about our organization is there's so many great people here.
I say three things. I want to serve God, serve my family, and serve others. So I come in the building, and that's what I want to do.
When Titans All Access returns, Amy Wells has another one of her great visits with a Titan as she talks with Peter Skoronsky. Stay tuned.
It's time for the decision of the week, presented by Hughes & Coleman. The Titans' decision to trade for kicker Nick Folk in August 2023 has proven to be a winner. Folk has made 50 of 52 field goals since arriving, which makes him the most accurate NFL kicker over that period of time. His reliability has been a stabilizing factor for the Titans.
Snap, set, Folk's kick on the way. You know. Good! Nick Folk has 3 from 50 plus.
And at age 40, Nick Folk only seems to be getting better. That's the decision of the week, sponsored by Hughes & Coleman, official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans.
Welcome back to Titans All Access. I am joined by our Nissan Insider, Peter Skoronsky. Peter, we're getting ready to take on the Indianapolis Colts for the second time this season. And that's very different than any other time when you're playing football where you see the same opponent 2 times in one season. Have you gotten used to that yet?
It's definitely a weird sensation. I feel like that doesn't really happen very much. Certainly not in college, and high school pretty unlikely too. So that's kind of part of the NFL is you get those teams twice. And thankfully we had a nice big break between the first and second time. But sometimes you can get them like twice in 3 weeks, which is always weird. But so it will kind of feel like a new game and not just playing the same game again. But it's still interesting.
It's interesting, and I wonder how that impacts your preparation because you've seen them once, but it was a few weeks ago, and the Colts looked very different then than they do now. So do you have to completely start over with a brand new game plan and brand new everything the second time?
I wouldn't say brand new. I think they still do what they do structurally in their defense, and they do it well. But they don't, they haven't changed too much per se. But they had guys out last time. They have guys back now, and a lot of different personnel out there too, which is a huge challenge for us. So it is much different, even though you do have some of the same structures overall.
A lot of people talk about not the rookie year, but the jump from year 1 to year 2, and how there's a bit of a challenge associated with that. Not because of anything other than you're kind of responsible for establishing your own routines now.
Yeah.
Did you find that to be a challenge, figuring out what you like?
No, honestly, I feel like I felt more comfortable after learning all that my rookie year. And now that I've gone through a year, I feel more I know how each part of the year feels, and I kind of have my routine already that I learned from last year and what I would do, what I do differently. So I definitely feel more comfortable in the second year in terms of the off the field and sort of the mental prep. But there's definitely higher expectations. I think that kind of ups the intensity of the second year, and that's kind of where the jump comes from, in my opinion. I do feel a lot more comfortable in a lot of ways. So,
J.C. Latham was a first-round draft pick for the Tennessee Titans this year, and he's somebody who's playing right next to you. Do you like that you guys are in similar parts of your career where you're both relatively young and you're close enough to your own rookie year where you kind of understand what he's going through right now?
It's awesome being a first-round pick. It's a blessing, but there's also a lot of pressure and expectation that goes with that. And I can understand that from his perspective. I think he understands that scenario too, and I can relate to that too, and feel a lot of the same feelings as he is. So I think that's kind of helped us bond and work together and managing that and being motivated by that too.
And the stability, knowing that barring something unforeseen, who's going to be next to you for a while. That's got to be comforting?
For sure. I think an offensive line play, stability, consistency, and being with the same guys is a really huge benefit, and it's something you always kind of strive for in an offensive line, and knowing that he's going to be there and hopefully be here for a while, which you will, I think. So having that there, and it's comforting in my mind. And it's also just comforting every time I get to the line. I know here's a guy who's played a bunch of snaps next to me already, who knows what I like to do, knows how I like to treat certain scenarios. So that's a real benefit for me.
What's impressed you the most about him?
I mean, he's got a lot of physical traits that are pretty impressive. I mean, he's huge, he's extremely strong, but he's extremely built. He's not, you hear about all these linemen being kind of big and fat, but that's not really him. But I think his attitude and his intensity is really impressive. He's got a lot of drive, he wants to be great, and he pushes himself to be great every single day. And that's really impressive from a rookie, that kind of desire to be great, I think is kind of what's driven his improvement this year, which has been a ton of that.
Peter Skronsky, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
We've got more Titans All Access on the way, so stick around.
Hey Titans fans, I'm Kellen DeCourcy, Project Executive with the Tennessee Titans, and we're here to talk to you today about the latest developments on the construction of the new Nissan Stadium. All right, here we are at the retaining wall, east side of our loading dock. This is a specialty retaining wall system and earth retention system that is used when we don't have the logistical space to overcut and cut behind here, because above us we have an active roadway. It is basically held up and supported by all of these different nails that you see. They're drilled 30 to 35 feet deep in at an angle, about 30 degrees into the ground. And we coat it with concrete, and then we come back with a layer of waterproofing, and then we ultimately finish it off with a nice smooth finish of concrete that makes it nice and pretty. This is going to form our loading dock wall for the new stadium.
The Titans are on their way to Indianapolis for their second meeting of the year with the Colts. The Week 6 meeting in Nashville saw Indy come away with a 20-17 victory, courtesy of Titans Radio. Here's a refresher on that Sunday at Nissan Stadium. We call it the AFC South Rewind.
First drive of the game, no score. Flacco throwing for downs on the left side. Touchdown, Indianapolis Colts, as he beat Kenneth Murray. Play fake, Flacco fires over the middle, intercepted. Hooker, 50, Hooker 40, Hooker 30, Hooker run out of bounds by Sermon inside the 30. Yes! Titans' first interception of the year. Amani Hooker picking her off. 60-year man from Iowa makes the big play. Flacco will throw it to you.
He'll throw it to you, and he'll throw it a lot. Let's keep that up.
Levis, play fake, looks right, fades it into the end zone. Westbrook Akine all alone. Touchdown, Titans! NWI, his first catch of the year, goes for a big 6.
That's a really nice play. Shift out from under center, offset the back, a little bit of a play fake, a nice soft fade to the back pylon. Perfectly played. The corner went completely asleep when they shifted.
Kick on the way. Good! Nick Folk, 8 of 8 on the year. Snap, set. Gay's kick is up, and his kick is good. Levis, delay handoff. Pollard to the 20, Pollard to the 15, Pollard to the 10, Pollard to the 5, Pollard to the end zone! Yes. Touchdown, Titans! On 3rd and 19, Tony Pollard gets it all and then some.
What a great call. What a great call by Brian Callahan.
They are going to send Gay on for the 22-yard field goal attempt. Snap, set, kick, good. Flacco under pressure, floats it into the end zone for Pittman. He caught that ball. He caught it away from Snead. What a catch. Michael Pittman Jr. with a spectacular catch in the end zone on what was a prayer throw by Joe Flacco. Levis dropping, looking, firing, gets it to Hopkins. He flips it backwards. Okonkwo, he throws it backwards. Levis trying to recover it. He's got it. Speed takes him down, and the Colts have beaten the Titans 20-17.
couple notes from that game. The Titans will face Anthony Richardson at quarterback on Sunday after seeing Joe Flacco back in October. Richardson didn't play on October 13th due to an oblique injury. Also, in a game where neither team had 300 yards of total offense, no one recorded a quarterback sack and each team had a turnover. So Josh Downs' 4 punt returns for 67 yards were a major factor in field position. The Colts won in Week 6. 10 weeks later, the Titans hope to turn the tables in Indianapolis. We'll have more Titans All Access right after this.
Burrow looking, stepping up, in trouble. Sack! Ball taken away. It's Sweat coming the other way. Stiff arm 15, 20, 25, Sweat 30, 35, and he's finally pushed out of bounds by Bolson at the 40. Titans get the quarterback sack and steal the ball. It's Harold Landry.
Time for the Tennessee Titans to get back on the road.
We are headed just up the road, straight north, up I-65 to Indianapolis.
We'll have the Titans and the Colts for you from Lucas Oil Stadium this Sunday. Hopefully the roof will be closed.
Yeah, please.
Please,
Whew.
thank you. Our Titans radio stations will be on the air at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern for Titans Countdown. Kickoff set for 12:02 Central Time. Titans at Colts this Sunday on Titans Radio. For Amy Wells, I'm Mike Keith. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.